infamous Dan Coe style or black and white animation style. Today, I'm gonna unlock the secrets for you on how to create and animate this style. We'll get you from never doing this style before to becoming an animation god. But before we do that, let's take a look at what we're gonna recreate that will allow you to unlock this Dan Coe style. I took this viral video that I found online that had a bit of an elevated look and ended up recreating this in After Effects. Recreating this short animation here is a great stepping stone as there are many techniques that you'll learn throughout this video. Now doing this will set you on the right path, but if you want to level up your skills 10 times quicker and get paid 10 times more for video editing, then sign up for the waitlist on my course. Here we're going to teach you how to perfect this Dan Coe style, as well as show you the Iman Ghazi and Ali Abdaal style. And then we take your newfound skills and show you how to attract top level influencers and brands. Listen, the time of the editor is right now. My DMs are flooded every week with top influencers looking for someone to edit their videos. So we'll show you how my team and I were able to attract them and get paid anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000 a month from a single client. Anyone who understands how to create a visually engaging video for social media will be ahead of everyone else. Brands and top-level influencers are looking for people to do so. So get on the wait list. We only release the course every 2 months and accept a very limited amount of students to make sure everyone is successful. The link is in the description, and if you sign up now, we're offering a very extremely limited discount for the holidays. Only if you sign up right now though. Now with that all being said, let's move on to this tutorial. All right, we're here in After Effects and we're gonna hop right into it by creating the scene first. So as we go about this, there's gonna be a couple of techniques that I recommend for creating this kind of animation. And it all really starts off with doing the line visuals in the correct format. What do I mean by that? Is just making sure that the width of the stroke is the right size. So I use anywhere between 1 to 3 pixels max. You'll see a lot of people doing this wrong where they're taking icons from Google and just putting it into the video. That's not how you want to do things, which brings me to the first thing that we're going to create and my first point. So what we want to do is create this glass. Now I could create that from pure memory, which is pretty difficult to do, especially if you're going to do something in 3D like we are going to do. What you can do from there is just find a picture online. It could be an icon if you want, or you could find an actual picture of a 3D glass online, download it, and then convert it into the correct aesthetic we want, which is this line animation. So I already have a glass cup here that I'm going to drag on. I found this online and you can too just by searching on Google. But to make things easy for you, I have all the assets, including this picture and everything else I use in this project for free to download in the description. Download that. If you don't feel like downloading it, you can find this online. All right, so we have this glass here and I'm just gonna scale it down, position it how we want. Something like this is okay. And then we're gonna now trace it with the pen tool in the top left. So I'm gonna click on the pen tool and we're gonna trace it. So right here, I'm gonna hold down Shift to make it angle and then do it again over here. Just click and it should be almost good. Then I'm gonna hold Option on my keyboard and you'll see the cursor change. I'm just gonna align that with the cup and that will allow us to get a straight line here once we click. So you can see our shape layer is in black. We want to get rid of the fill. Just click fill up here and change that to nothing and then make the stroke. So you can't really see it. I'm going to turn the opacity down on the glass and you'll be able to see the stroke. I'm actually going to change it to 3. I think that looks a little bit better than what we're going for. So when it also comes to making 3D stuff, especially like a tube or a glass, we're going to use this ellipse tool. So click on that. Then we're going to drag it and align it. I'm going to hit the V key just to take this and shrink it up a little bit and position it. There we go. So for the first cup, we want to show that it is pretty low. So what we can do here is do the ellipse tool again and then make a small circle here. So you can see how tracing that glass really helped, especially that top and sizing it up. And then if we disable it, we'll show our entire thing. So one thing here is I could tell that the bottom ellipse isn't necessarily following the right width to give the correct 3D effect. So I'm just going to adjust that. Something like that should look good. So what I'm going to do is Command D, the top circle here. So Command D to duplicate, drag it down. We just want to scale this down and then mess with the width of it, drag it where we need to put it. Cool, that looks pretty good. What we also need to do is add that liquid in there with a gradient on top. So what I'm going to do is go to the pen tool again. I'm going to make a shape within the glass here. So I'm going to click right here and just follow the line of the glass. Okay, so now that I followed the line of the glass, I'm actually going to disable the stroke and then we want to fill this up. I'm just going to fill it with red for now. drag it to the bottom. It's behind everything. And then we're going to put a gradient on it. So over in the effects and presets, I'm going to look up gradient ramp and throw that onto our red shape here. So you can see, obviously it's not looking good. We need to apply the right colors. So for the black, we want to change this to more of a pinkish kind of color here. So I'm using this color code. If you're following along, just type this in and then hit OK. For the bottom of it, we want a little bit of a like darker purple. So I'm just going to click on over here, change it to a darker purple and hit OK. Still not looking that great. So I'm going to click back on gradient ramp in the effects control, and you'll see these little anchor points pop up. If we drag these, it controls the gradient. So I'm going to drag it closer to the cup, and there's one at the top as well. I'm going to drag that down, and you can start to see we're getting way more of that gradient that we want. That looks pretty good. From here, I'm going to highlight everything, right click, pre-compose, and call this cup 1. So now that we have the first cup, we're going to move on to the frame. So once again, like I was saying, you want to find icons online of the thing you want to create and then convert it into the style we want, which is this line style. So I already found a frame. Once again, you can download this in the description or you can find it online. I'm going to drag it into my project here, scale it down and position it how we want. I'm going to give it a little bit of a rotation here. So now that we have our frame positioned well, we're going to just trace it with the pen tool and create those lines. First, I'm going to actually turn down the opacity. Now I'm going to click on my pen tool and we can start tracing the outer edge of the frame here. Make sure when you're tracing, you don't have anything selected so you can create a shape. Otherwise, you're going to be masking the image that you have selected. So make sure nothing's selected and then click and it'll create its own shape, and then we're going to trace. Change the fill to nothing and then change the stroke to 3. So for this, I'm going to create a inner edge. I'm not going to go this far deep into it. I just want to create just a little smaller inner edge. So I'm just going to follow the same basic shape, just keep things closer to the lines that we already created. Looks pretty good. Now I want to make it a little bit more 3D. The great thing about this image here is it's already kind of 3D. I want to extend it a little bit more, but we can go off of that. Back to the pen tool. I'm going to click right here. Bring this out to probably right about there. Just adjust it a little bit how you need to. Basically, this top line should be matching the exact same angle as that bottom line. I think that looks good. I'm going to do the same for the top. I'm going to create more of a 3D. So go back to the pen tool, click once over here at the edge, click once over here, and then connect it, and then adjust as need be. So I'm going to hit V on my keyboard and adjust this one as needed. Awesome, looks great. Now we can delete the frame because we have the basic outline of it. I'm going to highlight everything and drag it over just a tad because I want to add one more aspect to it, and it's a little bit of a, I don't know what you would call it, something to hold it up, prop it up, I guess. So we're going to add that. This is probably the most trickiest part of this, is getting this to look right. So you're going to have to finesse it a little bit or just mess with it. So I'm going to click once right here, click down right here. I'm going to create a straight line right here. So I held down shift and clicked, and then I'm going to click make an angle here. So this angled line needs to be the same angle as that because we want to match the same 3D scope of it. And then try to make this line over here as straight as possible. That looks good. Going to go back to my pen tool again, click on this corner, and then just one straight line up here. And there we have it. We have a 3D frame created. From here, what we need to do is add a little bit of the finishing touches on this, which is a gradient on the side here and a gradient on the top. Just like how we created the gradient for the cup, we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to create a shape here and add a gradient effect on top. So let's create that shape. First, I'm going to change the stroke to none, and then we can change the fill to red here. And then we're just going to click and follow this line here. Cool. So we have our first shape. I'm going to drag that all the way to the bottom, and we can throw our gradient on top. So in the effects and presets, we have gradient pulled up, gradient ramp, and I'm going to throw that onto the shape. So from here, we want the start color to be black like it is now. Then we want the end color to be a gray, almost a lighter gray, and hit OK. Now we need to adjust the anchor point. So I'm going to drag the top one way down close to it, and then the bottom one closer as well. We want a little more black shown, so I'm going to drag this down, and that looks good. Same thing for the top. We're going to make a shape. Going to go to my pen tool and follow the outline here. Now that we have our shape, I'm going to drag it to the bottom so it's under everything. Then we can copy the same exact gradient map on the other shape that we just created. So I'm going to click on that layer, gradient ramp, and Command C this to copy. Go to my red shape here and hit Command V. Only thing we need to do is adjust the anchor points. All right, so that is our frame. The next thing to do is highlight everything, pre-compose it, call it frame. Then we can move on to the cup. Oh yeah, by the way, we're gonna put all the glowing effect at the end. We just want to get the basic scene down and then we'll add the effects later. All right, so now that we have our frame created and our cup, I actually wanna scale things down and position things a little bit better. So I'm gonna highlight all the shapes I created, hit S on my keyboard and scale it down. So you can see some things are getting out of place. We'll just fix that. So anything that goes out of place, you can just drag it back. Should be fine. Same with the cup. I want to just scale this down a tad bit. Hit S on my keyboard, scale it down, position it right about there. Looks good. For the frame, we want to highlight all the layers, right click, pre-compose. We call this frame. Okay, so now we want to work on the second cup that has a little bit more of a full glass with a different gradient. To do that, I'm going to click into my cup 1 just by double clicking. Then we see all the shapes here. I'm going to highlight all this, hit Command C, go back to my original composition, hit Command V, and now I'll paste the cup in there. Some things are out of order, but that's totally fine. Then I'm going to scale it down just by hitting S on my keyboard, and this will scale the cup down. We want it to fit nicely in the frame. Some things are getting out of place. Like I said, totally fine. We could delete this gradient layer here, and we could delete this circle shape here. We want to make this glass a little bit more full. Go up to the ellipse tool, click and drag up here to create a circle that mimics the one on the top. Change the fill to nothing and the stroke to 3. Or actually we'll make the stroke 2 since we shrank some things down. From here, we're just going to adjust things so it fits nicely within the cup. There we go. Now we need to add the gradient to represent the liquid. To do that, go up to the pen tool. Then we're going to outline this shape here. So click once here and then follow the lines. All right, so now that we have the shape outlined, we're going to change the stroke to nothing. Change the fill just to a red here, and then we'll throw on this gradient. First, just drag the layer down to the bottom here. Go over to effects and presets. We have gradient ramp pulled up. Throw that onto our red layer here. For the start color here, the one that's black, click into that and change it to a light blue. You can use this color code if you're following along. Hit OK. For the end color, we can change this to a green. So you can use this color code if you're following along and then hit OK. What we need to do is change the anchor points of the gradient. So I'm just dragging the bottom one up and then the top one down to show more of that blue. It looks pretty good. Next thing to do is highlight all the layers, right click, pre-compose, and call this cup 2. So our scene's almost complete. We just need to add some text. So go up to the text tool here on the top left and click in the middle here and we're going to make some text. First thing we're going to write out is potential you feel. The font I'm using is TWK Everett. You can use that. You can find it online if you want. If not, I'll have it in the project assets that you download. Scale this all the way down. Just make it fit comfortably within there. Then I'm going to duplicate this text here. Make sure it's highlighted. Hit Command D. That will allow us to drag the other layer up here. Change this text to your true potential. There's one thing we need to do with the text here to make it fit within the top. We need to add a 3D effect to it. So in the effects and presets, look up basic 3D. Drag this onto our text layer, then mess with the swivel. All right, for the swivel, I just did a -11 here. On your side, you're just gonna have to mess with it to fit the direction of this line to give it that 3D effect. All right, so here's our scene here. We built out the cups, the frame, and have a little bit of 3D situation happening here. The next thing is to actually animate this. To do that, I'm gonna start with cup number 1. I'm gonna hit the P key on my keyboard. That's gonna bring up the position and then make sure the playhead is all the way to the left. I'm gonna make a keyframe for position in the beginning and then I'm gonna drag it out to the right. Still keep my playhead to the left here. I'm gonna drag this all the way out of frame. So we play that back. It's coming in frame. Obviously it looks pretty slow. I'm gonna highlight both these keyframes, right click, keyframe assistant, easy ease. Then go to the graph editor, click that. You'll see this little graph that mimics the speed of the animation that we have here. Click on the right one. This little yellow thing pop up, click on this and drag it all the way to the left. Then we can get out of our graph and then watch it back. Not bad. I think I just want it a little bit quicker. So I'm gonna take this right keyframe and drag it to the left. It looks pretty good. So the thing with this is we want this cup to mimic the exact movement and speed of the first cup. To do that really quickly, I'm just gonna go to cup number 2 here, make sure that's selected. Go to my pick whip tool on the right here is this little circle thing. Drag that to cup number 1. And once you let go, it's whipping it to cup number 1. So if we watch this back, the speed and motion is the exact same. The only thing we have to do from here is make a mask so that the cup is not showing up when it's outside of the frame. To do that, I'm going to drag my playhead all the way to the left. I'm going to go to the pen tool here. Make sure the cup number 2 is selected, and then we can make an outline on the frame. All right, so I created that mask around the frame, and we can see the cup disappears here. What we need to do from here is animate the mask as well, just so it's always in front of this frame as the cup moves, because we can see the mask starts to move when the cup is supposed to move as well, but we need it to stick within this frame. To do that, I'm gonna drop down on cup number 2 here, go to the mask, drop down, mask number 1, drop that down one more time, and hit a keyframe for mask path. Make sure my playhead is all the way to the left here. So hit that keyframe. Then we want to snap to this keyframe here where the cup actually stops animating. So this is cup number 1. But what we can do is go to the left here and we can see, go to next keyframe, just click that and it'll snap our playhead to that keyframe as soon as the cup stops to animate. And we can see when we click back onto our cup number 2 layer that the mask is not where it's supposed to be. So we're just going to adjust this to where it needs to go. All right, so now that we have that mask adjusted at the end, we can see it still doesn't follow the path, or it still doesn't stick to the frame here. That's because we have an easy ease on the actual movement of the cup. So to mimic that, we're just going to highlight both of these keyframes here, right click, keyframe assistant, easy ease, go to the graph editor, and we're going to click on the one on the right and drag this part to the left. And that should mimic the same exact speed, which will keep the mask here the entire time. So if we play it back, we notice that the mask stays there. All right, so that's the animation. Now it's time to add the finishing touches to it, which is the glow. For this, I have a plugin called Deep Glow. I think it's around anywhere between 30 to 50 bucks. I'll have that linked in the description as well. You can use the normal glow that After Effects comes with, but the plugin Deep Glow definitely has a better feel to it. It's just an overall better glow than what the normal After Effects glow will give us. So I always revert to that, but if you don't want to purchase that, your image is going to look totally fine. It even looks cool like it is now. I'm going to throw this deep glow on it just to add that little bit of extra touch to it. You can follow along with the regular glow as well, just saying. So to do that, I am going to pull up Deep Glow in my effects and presets. So Deep Glow. Before we actually throw this on, I want to throw it on the cup number 1 first. So I'm going to duplicate it. So I'm going to hit Command D to duplicate it. Then I'm going to throw it on the bottom layer. The reason why I'm doing that is if we just threw it on the cup without duplicating it, and we also threw it on the top layer here, the lines would become too blurry, not giving the cup a like rigid feel. So duplicating it and then throwing it on the one on the bottom allows the lines to be a little bit more sharp. So with the one on the bottom, we're going to go up to the Deep Glow effect and the effects control. Going to turn down the exposure a little bit, and then we want to turn the radius up a lot more. Just the exposure a little bit more. Something like that is good. So we can copy this as well. So Command C. So now that we have it copied, I'm going to go to cup 2, hit Command D. On the bottom one, we want to paste it. So Command V. And we notice as soon as we paste it, we're seeing this hard line just because the glow is maxing out the frame here. So to get rid of that, we just need to turn the radius down quite a bit and then also adjust the exposure. We also want to throw the glow effect onto the frame here. So with that frame, I'm going to hit Command D to duplicate it. On the bottom one, we're going to hit Command V to paste that glow effect. We want to turn the radius down quite a bit. Turn that exposure to around 0.19. That looks pretty good. So for the text, we actually don't need to duplicate this. I am just going to highlight both of them, hit Command V, and there we go. There's our final video. Now, like I said, if you want to do this a lot quicker, a lot better, and in a more advanced way, and learn a lot more advanced things, then check out my course where we teach you how to do this Danco style, Iman Ghazi style, Ali Abdal, the style that my team does for all of our clients. And on top of upgrading your animation and editing skills, we're going to show you how to gain and attract clients that will pay you anywhere between $3,000 to $8,000 a month for video editing for them. Because right now we're in the time of the editor. The creator economy is booming, and I have hundreds of people a day looking for editors. But in order to be a great editor that can charge a lot, you need to upgrade your skills, learn how to animate correctly, learn how to maximize engagement for social media So this is what the course does, is teach you how to get to that level where you can charge that much. And it also shows you how to find those clients super easy. I myself have built out a editing agency where we have clients paying us anywhere from $4,000 to $8,000 a month. I'm going to show you exactly how we attracted them, all the methods and things we had in place to sell them, the sales scripts and all of that. That's in the course as well. So make sure you check that out. We're keeping it open for a very limited time, only this week. Other than that, after this week, we're not going to be selling it again until 2 months later. And plus, it's at a discounted price at the moment. 2 months later, once we do release it again, the price of the course is going to triple. So this is a cohort for the course. We only want a very limited amount of people just to make sure we could individually give our attention to you and you are upgrading your skills as fast as possible and you're learning exactly how my team and I do everything. So once again, it's for a very limited time and at a discount at the moment and will never be at this price again. So make sure you hop onto it because we won't be releasing this until quite some time.